Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji, wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
Walk with us as we tell you the stories of our society.
Wengine atavaa mtandio kichwani utafikiri ni kijihandkerchief.
Enzi za wakati wa kusema ati alisema akasisitiza akihutubia wanahabari, enzi hizo hazipo tena.
Kuchimbua na kunakili matukio kwa undani.
We want to create current awareness
ranging from adventure, human interest and inspirational stories, ili kuweza kukuelimisha, kukuburudisha na kukubumbuisha. Words have been said, but now it is time to lay the foundation that will impact the world.
Terrorism is terrorism, no matter who is behind the trigger.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji, wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
Assalamu alaikum. It is indeed a very, very beautiful day, and you're wondering what I'm doing here. Welcome to the Sabah Show. This is Healthy Thursday, of course, with Mariam Mwacharo, but I'm stepping in. My name is Aisha Khan, and as you always know, before we go to the health topics, we always have to look at stories making the top headlines in our country. Now, you can join in the conversation by following us on our social media pages. That is at Horizontv Kenya. That is on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Now we're coming to you live from the heart of the city center. This is Horizon TV, the premier Islamic station. And of course, to put things into perspective, I have with me two gentlemen here on set. That is Abu Bakar Mushiri and Odada Orinda. How are you guys doing?
Very good.
Are you ready for Healthy Thursday?
We are healthy for Thursday.
Okay, so now looking at the Star, the headline is saying Lunturi was both cruel and romantic. Now, according to once love-struck Kitani, the marriage was sealed by chewing a bunch of miraa made in the shape of a manhood. Now, should such stories be making headlines today, Abu Bakar?
Such stories should not be making headlines, but you know, it's unfortunate that it's in Africa we tend to glorify our politicians too much. You know, now we have very divorce cases. You have them in court each and every day, but this one has been the headlines for the past week. I mean, it's very unfortunate. And now look at the issues that they are highlighting. First, the issue of traditional marriages, because you have one party claiming that, you know, I'm not married to whoever is seeking a divorce, but there are claims that, you know, the marriage was sealed by chewing miraa, and the other one drank mursik, the kalenjin. You know, it's very unfortunate. We need first, there should be a system that for traditional marriages, whether they should be legally recognized by the government, because now if the person married traditionally, then or on another occasion did a religious wedding or such, then you'll have a bigamy in case where it's not legally recorded. And another issue that is arising from this case, now the woman is seeking a divorce, and in the first day of court, she was highlighting how much she has done for Linturi, saying, you know, I bought an X-Trail, I gave him a house, you know, now you come to look at things, you know, from the social perspective of it, in a marriage setup. To what extent, you know, should we go in terms of the husband and wife in terms of finances? Because you have a disadvantage. Fortunately, you know, our religion is very clear on such guidelines. In fact, you know, for Muslims, there isn't much of a problem, you know, marrying an elder woman or who is financially, you know, financially muscular than you.
Prophet and Khadija.
Yeah, we have a perfect example of it. But you know, now from the you know, the non-believer's perspective, it's quite hard, because now we are brought up from an African traditional setup, whereby the man is the provider. So the man is everything in the house. And it tends kind of to put the woman in the house to remain as a housewife, and the man to get the finances, do all stuff. But alhamdulillah, we have a religion which is clear on this. And I'm sure if they were Muslims, they wouldn't be having a problem with this. Only that now there are claims of cheating, that the husband was cheating on the wife, and you know, threats on murder threats and such. But it's unfortunate that, you know, first I think we hold our politicians too highly. We should lesson on that and see them as our leaders, because we do not, you know, I think we glorify them too much. We should lesson on it. Yeah.
Dada.
What I'd say first of all is that is washing a lot of dirty linen in public. But again, the society is the basic unit. The family, sorry, is the basic unit of our society. So it should be a concern. But the extent to which it's now gone, I think it's way too much. And then again, as is said, we are holding our politicians to way too high standards. It's like we expect them to be some sort of demigods, and again we also expect them to do wrong, so that, you know, right now the magazine is selling. Okay, what I can say right now concerning that story is that our marriages are becoming a big mess, because first of all, those people weren't originally married. They all broke from different marriages to come and join again to be married. Personally, my biggest fear in life has always been, okay, besides not being successful, has always been having a broken marriage. I can't just live with the fact that I move from one marriage to the next. So I think the matter in hand is supposed to be about upbringing. Our society is supposed to be keen on the marital values, on the marital roles. For instance, I don't see the big deal with the lady providing things in the family. I don't think it should be a matter of concern.
Would you accept a woman to provide for you? Or Dada?
If she has, personally, my self-esteem is so high that I wouldn't feel insecure. The ego and the self-esteem is so high that I wouldn't feel insecure if the lady is providing. Only until it becomes an issue and it's now being brought on the table during arguments, and then I'll tell you, you know what, I can self-sustain myself. The whole point is, in the current generation, especially with you ladies, in the feminism, no, it's not an attack. It's an honest perspective. With the feminism and the whole women empowerment and everything, I don't think we should advocate for equality in the gender. And then when it comes to marital statuses and family issues, it's now about the man being the provider. If we are to stick with tradition, let's stick with tradition. Men being superior.
But I think I want to bring Abu Bakr in here. What does the religion say? Like Islam, you know, what does it say about the man being the provider? And again, the woman, you know, we have 4 qualities when you want to marry a wife. Maybe you can expand on that, Abu Bakr. Yeah,
the 4 qualities that could be looked for, you know, in a wife, according to a religion, is wealth, the deen, how religious the person is, the lineage, and the 4th one, I forget, but you know,
there's beauty,
and
there's also if she is wealthy.
So you know, if for example, assume I'm married to maybe a woman who is 7 years older than me, and she's doing well. Maybe I'm not done with campus. She's working. She's earning well, and for some reason, maybe she is attracted to me, or you know, we have that chemistry, so we get married. If for the moment she's supporting me financially, I finish my studies, I start working, I might not be earning as much as she is, but you know, it's all about, it's not about the money, you know. It's about the compatibility. Do you two people have a chemistry? Can you two people coexist in the same house? Is that there, that respect, or is one person looking down upon the other one because for the basic reason I'm earning more than you? You know, it's also not about the woman providing. Look at some men, you know, some men, they earn a lot of money, but you know, for some reason the housewife, you know, has a housewife of such and looks down upon the wife or such. It's a matter of respect and compatibility when it comes to marriage, because if you put the finances aside, if you have all you need, you have food, you have shelter.
There's more to just the finances.
Yeah, there is more to finances.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next headline that is on People's Daily. We have besieged Sosion fights for his life. Now, he has refused to step down. You know, what do you guys have to say about this?
This man doesn't end to amaze us. You know, I do not see the reason he has for refusing to step down as Secretary General. He has been there. He has done a great job. To the teachers, they will attribute much of their success to him. He was nominated as a member of Parliament. I just don't know. It's the allowances or the salary that he's up to, but you know, it's just a reflection of what happens. You know, it's not, these are not official, but look at what is happening in African countries. Robert Mugabe, how long he took. Look at Museveni, how long he took.
Do you think we as African leaders have a problem? Because just as you're saying the examples, you know, once they get into power, for them to step down is such a big problem. What do you have to say about that, Odada?
I recently asked someone who's good in HI, human intelligence, and psychology and all the stuff to do with societal and everything. I was curious whether it is by default that Africans are power hungry, and he told me that there's nothing within us that makes us power hungry. It's about how we were brought up. We were brought up in a society where someone was brought up before Kenya got independence, and he or she watched Jomo Kenyatta, for instance, become president all through till the point where Moi peaked and Moi became president all through. So we know we're used to a society where we are not ready for transition.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah, we're not ready for transition. So the way we are brought up, I think that's the problem here. I don't think Sosion is really willing to step down. You know, he's not willing to step down. He feels like he should continue holding that position. And as I said last time, you know, even the best dancers know when to leave the stage. If you've done your work well, which I do say he's done well, because all the way from when I was a kid in primary school till now I'm in campus, this guy has fought for the teachers. They have their dignity now. But again, man, it's time. It's about time.
And also, you know, when you talk about a nation, when a nation is gaining independence, or when an organization is starting, the first very leaders are very important in determining the future of that organization. Because now look at an example of Tanzania. Tanzania has three times the number of tribes that we have in Kenya. But Tanzanians are very less tribalistic than we are. Why? Julius Nyerere, their first president, he created that sense of harmony. He was that man of integrity, you know, and he led the country with that kind of leadership that is deserved. And people from then henceforth, you know, people would look at the next leader we want him to be like this, you know. But no, what happens in some of our countries, a nation gains independence, and the person who gets into power, after 2 years, it's a coup, and that's how a person became president. How do you expect the nation then from their henceforth to grow? Yeah. No.
Amazing. So now we'll move on to the next headline that is in the Daily Nation: property, power, and the church. I would not like to concentrate on the church a lot, because this is happening in every, you know, religion, where our religious leaders are stepping out of what is stipulated in the books and doing very unethical things.
You know, it's very unfortunate, because you know, where you can find safety or such is maybe it's a religious, you know, building or institution. Now we have it's an issue of greed again. It's an issue of greed. You know, it's very normal for a human being, you know, to desire large amounts of money, wealth, and such. But religion is what could guide us, because without religion, I don't know what the world could be. It should guide our morals and such. But maybe it also reflects, you know, how we choose our leaders. How do we choose our religious leaders? Because, you know, if, for example, it's a big religious, maybe a big mosque or a big church, you know, for, you know, the politics will be into the church because everybody wants to lead the church because there will be a large amount of funds to handle. So the person will eat something out of it. So now politics gets into the church and we end up having wrong leaders. It's not that we do not have the right people who are sincere with their religion to lead. They are there. But unfortunately, we have let politics and our greed, you know, and self-interest get into the church. So it's a problem, church and mosque, you know, all religious institutions. So it's a problem with kind of the society because we are the ones putting the wrong people in place, or else you could have, we have the right people, you know, humbling down, walking around, but we are choosing the wrong leaders, allowing politics to get into our religious funds.
I think this traces back to the early Anno Domini years. The early church and the Catholic Church and everything. I remember there's a time back, there's some documentaries that cover it. People could pay money to secure their place in heaven.
Seriously?
People could pay money. The Roman Catholic Church, when it was ruling the whole world, there were provisions for you to pay money to secure a place in heaven. What I think is the human mind, human beings are meant to look up to a superior being. And especially if they are unable to physically see that superior being, when they have someone who represents that superior being to them, in which case is the people who serve God and Allah in that case, they look up to them a lot.
So could you say that we don't have enough faith?
What I can say is, again, it's all about the influence. How well can you influence people? You realize that, for instance, in my religion, Christianity, we have so many denominations. Reason being is, the Bible is the same. It's the same information that is in the Bible, but how people interpret it. That is how someone will come and tell you that if you give this amount of money, God will bless you in this way, and someone else will tell you a different information. And then because we want to look up to these people, and again, the whole process of sitting down and reading the Quran or the Bible needs a lot of self-discipline. Most of us, we don't have that discipline. So if someone interprets for you the Bible in a way that's going to have you use a lot of money and make them rich, the better for them. That's why you have so many churches, so many denominations. And then again, as you said, the greed we have in our society. Every single individual wants to be rich, whatsoever the means. And then again, you know, the means just the end justifies the means.
Just to point out something, how you pointed about Christianity. In Islam, we say that it is shirk, where you associate God with another being or another thing. So you see, that boils down to, you know, we do not know our religion well. Just as you said, we don't open the Quran, we don't open the Bible, or we don't open any other books that, you know, we are affiliated to that religion. So, Abu Bakr, very briefly, what is the solution to this?
I mean, it's for us, you know, to you have a certain sheikh leading a mosque or somewhere, and you have that, you know, it's that, for example, Muslimization of Kenyatta University. You have maybe a Ramadan program. You get funds, you get sources from this place, from, you know, from organizations and such. Now, the accounting of it, whether some funds were mismanaged or such, the transparency that comes in tells you the kind of leaders that you have. And when you discover that a person is not legible, you know, it's not credible to be a leader, then it's now for us, you know, as the followers, you know, to raise a voice and condemn whatever is happening, whatever wrong is happening. Because unfortunately for us, we keep quiet so much, and that's why, you know, a bad leader will continue being a bad leader because, you know, the people are quiet. So if we could raise a voice when you notice something small which is fishy, then others will see an example from it and lead in the correct manner.
But don't you think those who raise their voices are really suppressed in this society, in this day and age?
Yeah, to be honest, that's true. People get suppressed. But then again, there's always this story about, a brief story about bullying in schools. If you go to school and someone bullies you, the best thing is fight back. Even if you lose that battle, you'll have made a statement. Even after that, that person will never bully you again. There will be that respect. So the whole point is, even if you're going to be suppressed, but once you speak out something, and it gets to the ears of the individuals concerned, they're going to find a way of either ensuring they stop it, or they reduce the intensity, but then again, it's going to make some change. So the whole point is, besides the suppression that is there, I think it is upon everyone to bring out the fact that some of these things are not good. It's not good to use God and religion to get rich. It's not fair.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. We have been able to cover some of the headlines. And just to wrap up before we take a break is, on Taifa Leo, we have Ruto arejea nyumbani kuzima moto. And then on the Standard, we have 10 governors hunted in 6 billion Kenya shillings tax probe. And then again, lastly, on the Business Daily, we have how ARM is planned to hive off 1.6 billion Kenya shillings unit failed. Now, we will be taking a short break. Remember, this is the Sabah Show. You can join in the conversation. That is at Horizontv Kenya on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakwetu wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said the believers encourage people to reconcile relations with those who have cut them off. Give charity to those who have deprived them. Forgive those who have oppressed them. Be kind with parents. Uphold family ties. Be kind with neighbors. Be kind with orphans, travelers, and the poor, and to be gentle with servants. They forbid bragging, arrogance, and transgression. They discourage people from feeling superior over others, rightly or wrongly. They enjoin people to use lofty manners and prohibit them from pursuing trifles. All that they say or do from these values and other teachings, in all of it they follow the Quran and the Sunnah. Their path is the religion of Islam, with which Allah has sent Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakwetu wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
Welcome back to the show. This is the Sabah Show, Healthy Thursdays. And of course, we are currently in the second segment of the newspaper review section. Now, looking at the Star, on page 3, we have State acquires high-tech DNA gadget to clear backlog. So before, you know, a lot of people were innocent and they would get into the mix. Now we have this. What do you think about it? Is it a good thing?
It's very positive, you know, because when you are in USA and you commit a crime, I mean, you'll be all tremors because there is FBI, there is CIA, you know, and such. But what about Kenya? You know, you can get away with murder through a bribe. You know, some people get jailed in a life sentence because you know they were accused of manslaughter or murder, where else they were not involved. Now, DNA testing will help, especially in the serious crimes of murder and such, because you can be able to verify whose blood is this. Who was it found on, then you can try and get a link on who committed a crime. It's very positive. It will help the judicial system in the judging, because you are seeing cases taking too long. Because you're involved in a murder case, I mean, it will take a lot of time. Yes, you'll be granted a lawyer by the state, but the case will take too long, you know, and you'll be probably in remand or something. But with the coming of the DNA machines, then the cases will be faster, and it will all create a better environment in the judicial system. In all, yeah.
Madada, do you think this is a solution?
Well, I think it is, because we have someone was once saying that bless the US judicial system, because it's all about how well people can argue at their cases. It's funny that we can have the same constitution and two different sides and argue it differently. So I think when you have DNA tests, that they're very particular, they're very specific with the individuals. So that's a good investment. At least it will help speed up some cases, because there are some cases whereby you are arrested, you spend like probably even half of your sentence in the jail before you go to a prison, or prison before you go to a jail. I'm not quite sure. So I think it's an investment that is good enough. At least it will speed up justice, because justice delayed is more or less justice denied. Yeah, that's what I think.
Amazing. So now moving on to page 6, we have big win for the African elephant as export to foreign zoos banned. Export of live wild elephants from Zimbabwe and Botswana to foreign zoos and circuses has been legal under international law. So for the longest time, our animals have been taken from our own parks and our own zoos, and they go to other income generator, the tourism sector. Now, do you think this is a good move for us?
Yeah, it's positive, but look at last year what happened. They were trying to transfer some rhinos from Egesa to Tsavo, or from Tsavo National Park, and they ended up being dying. We get so much from the tourism sector. Unfortunately, we do not want to leave some money, a sizable amount of money, to run it and ensure things go well. We have been seeing elephants dying, rhinos dying, in the movement of transportation and such, but it's for the KWS to be given more funds on this, because we cannot ignore the tourism sector. Because when you tell someone in a country in Europe, for example, Switzerland, you tell them of Kenya, they'll think of the beaches, they'll think of the the tourism, the wildlife and such, because they do not have the privilege of that. But we take advantage of it, and we do not see a forthcoming crisis of extinction of some animals and endangered species. So it's upon the KWS to get to ask for more funding from the government for whatever they need, so that we ensure that our wildlife is well taken care of. We do not have deaths, or we do not have poaching. Also, poaching is also a great menace in the tourism sector, so that we ensure that a smooth running, and the more we invest in it, the more money will come from it. Because recently we have seen, for example, Rwanda advertising, in EPL and such, visit Malaysia and such. But what are we doing as a country? We have a lot of tourism resources that we can take advantage of, but we are not advertising, because yes, the little amount of money that we get from the tourism sector, it's going to the government. Then when it's in the government's hands, then politicians are dipping their hands in it, and it's getting lost through corruption. So we should invest more in our tourism sector as a country. Yeah.
Alala, what do you think about it?
What I do think is, I think it was it last year that we lost the last remaining white rhino, Sudan, if I'm not wrong. It was last year. We've been losing specific species of animals and even plants and wildlife throughout the time. I think we are losing our heritage. If this continued to happen, we'd be having a situation whereby, with time over years, we'd be shifting our wildlife from Africa to other continents. So I think that's a nice move. But then again, it's upon individual countries, because look at the case of transporting the rhinos and then they end up being dead. I mean, I will really need a good explanation to be convinced that those rhinos are not killed somewhere midway, and the tusks and every other thing were taken. I don't think it's something that is really good as a country, because tourism earns a lot of money. Much as we invest in the security, we're also supposed to invest in conserving the wildlife.
Amazing. Now moving on to page 11, we have fake antibiotics seized in Kenya. So the World Health Organization has asked those who may have taken the fake medicines to immediately seek advice from qualified medics. So fake antibiotics has been intercepted in Kenya, the World Health Organization has said. Now this is not the first time that we're hearing that, there's a fake medicine going around. So do you think there's something fishy going on in the government?
Something really fishy is going on. Because first, it's very unfortunate. When you go to a public hospital right now, they do not have drugs. They'll tell you, they'll write for you, go buy this from a chemist. And then for those who can afford, to afford the drugs, they go and buy them from chemist, and then you find you are consuming fake product. it's, you know, first, how did these antibiotics, these fake antibiotics, get into the country? Because now it shows that some corruption was involved. And then the health sector, the verification. If you have the Kenya Bureau of Standards for, you know, consumer goods, should we not have, you know, a standard check for, you know, for drugs? Because now this one antibiotic that has been caught, you know, but how many people have before, you know, like in the past 1 year in Kenya and Uganda consumed fake drugs? And you know, that's why we are having diseases that we cannot even know the source that we are having. The Ministry of Health should verify drugs before, you know, they get into the market, before they are consumed. And then it also reflects that, you know, there is some form of corruption in the pot. Because now the purpose of selling fake drugs is because you want to, you know, increase the amount of profit that you are making. So in a way, it's corruption from the ports and a failure to the Ministry of Health, because, you know, they should be concerned with what we are consuming as citizens of this country.
Odada, do you think there's something fishy going on?
I think there's a lot of fishy things going on.
Because just as he said, you know, you have institutions that are put in place, you know, governing bodies. Like, for example, we have KEBS. Before something goes on board, you know, these people have to really like certify and verify it. So for you to come and say that the public, you know, should return and should not use those fake medicines, what went wrong?
I think there is all medical courses during graduation. There is this oath they normally take. I'm forgetting how it's called. There's this oath they normally take to protect the lives of their patients, to protect the lives of their customers, to uphold the morals and the ethics involved in medicine. I don't know what happens to them once they leave the graduation square. I think it's something that is supposed to be revisited. Those people should remember, because unlike some of us in engineering, personally in engineering, unlike some of us, you know, when I make a mistake, I can rectify it. But when a medic makes a mistake, he or she buries that mistake. That is something that's supposed to sink deep into their heads. And the government, the Kenya Bureau of Standards, all those standards that are kept, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, all those standards and pharmacists and everything, they're supposed to come in and ensure that the drugs and everything are up to standard. Because, you know, there's not a mistake you're making and you can rectify. We've seen cases of people ending up being amputated because of medical negligence. So I think in that case, we shouldn't just cover it as news. There should be some people held accountable. It should just trickle down all the way from KMPA, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union, down to the pharmacists, down to the Kenya Bureau of Standards. And then we get the specific firms responsible for processing that. Because who knows, someone would be dead because of that very negligence. And
but
then
again, who cares? Now,
I know, right?
That's the question.
I know,
who
right?
cares? Now, you just mentioned something where they take an oath. You know, medical students take an oath where they're going to save lives. Even the lawyers take that oath where they're going to fight for justice. But that is never seen to light. Now, there is the education system, something that I want to tap into in regards to that topic, where when you go to other countries, before you take a medical degree or a law degree, they expect you to take a degree in another field, you know. Because at the end of the day, you find a lot of people, when they're getting into these courses, are not mature enough to know what they're doing. Do you think Kenya should go that way? Because if you go to hospitals, we have nurses and doctors, and how they treat patients is very surprising. You go to our courts, how the lawyers and the judges, you know, make judgment is on another case. So do you think that our education system, you know, should employ what other countries are doing?
You know, if you say, for example, studying a medicine course, it will probably take you 6 years. Now you say you want to, the person should study another course, then get into medicine, you know, for the purpose of, you want the person to be mature when doing medicine so that he can realize what the capacity or the gravity of what he's studying. It's you know, I see it not workable. Because you know, last week there was a highlight on the newspapers of a nurse who was involved in selling abortion pills to a 17-year-old. The nurse is probably in the mid-30s or early 40s. The person is mature enough, knows that this thing is harmful for this kid. It can lead to the death of, you know, first you're killing the baby. You might even kill the girl herself. but she doesn't care. She wants the money for it. Now our education system looks at it, you know, when you're going to school, they are all about grades. They want you to get A's and such, but look at our society. Our society is rotting. You know, corruption, you know, murders, domestic violence, gender-based violence, you know, people are depressed, suicidal cases each and every day in our media, because, you know, there lacks that integration of a moral teaching in our education system. Because, you know, for example, when I was in high school, we used to have guidance and counseling, and most of the focus, because the main challenge that we face in high schools is drug abuse. Guidance and counseling used to work very well, because first, when we are innocent in Form 1, you'll be informed, you know, drugs, there are some people who they want to give you drugs for free first, and then they will sell you later. They want you to get hooked so that they can be in business from it, and you get aware, you know. They show you pictures of lives which have been messed up by drugs and such. But what if we start from you know, they call it grade 1 right now, that, you know, not about only drug abuse, but you start teaching morals. You know, you start teaching people about integrity, honesty, so that, you know, such cases of corruption, you know, it's about a moral issue, a moral, you know, deficit that is not there to be filled in the society. Unfortunately, our religious institutions have not played a part in this. They have, you know, not sensitized people enough on it, and also, unfortunately, it's trickling down, you know, to our religious farms that some of our leaders are corrupt, you know. So if then the religious institutions are not performing their duties, then their education system, you know, we have a new education system, a competency-based curriculum, but what is the social aspect of it that it's in the curriculum? How beneficial will it in teaching the children the morals? Because right now we are having, you know, parents are not spending much of their time with their kids.
They're busy chasing money.
Yeah, they're busy chasing money. You know, I want to take my primary school kid to a big private school, but I do not know this child. I do not. So if then that cannot happen, our religious institutions, please play a part in it. And if that cannot be done, the education system integrate, you know, even if it's one subject to be taught once per week, you know, that will teach these children the morals, and they will grow up being straight.
Now, before we take a break, just let me introduce this topic, which is in the newspaper. This is on People's Daily. Sect members arrested for frustrating enumerators. This is now censors. Law enforcers swing into action to deal with persons obstructing census officials from performing their duty. So before we take the break, I want to know, you know, have you been counted?
I've not been counted.
You have not been counted? They have not reached you?
No, they haven't.
Abubakar, we need to find out where you live. Odada, have you been counted?
Yeah, I have been counted. I've been seeing posts of, you know, you need to get connections to be counted. Yeah, I have been counted. I've been counted. A sect, probably a group of people who believe in a given set of beliefs.
Yes.
But even I'm not very sure about the Quran, but even the Bible, Jesus went
now,
back to
Odada, we'll be taking a short break. We're coming to discuss this in depth.
Yeah.
We will be taking a short break. Remember, this is the Sabah Show, and you can join in the conversation at Horizontv Kenya on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Stay tuned.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama the Sabah Show.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. On the next episode,
I'm happy. Even when I got married, my wife allowed me access to the kitchen. Domestic chores are very, very important. Number one, it allows you to bond with your partner. It allows your partner to feel like a partner but not like a slave. And you show her that, you know what, I can come to your level and enjoy what you do, and you can come to my level and enjoy what I do. The influence that you have on your child now, it impacts on how yeye pia ataraise mtoto wake. The first time nilipika pilau by myself, and at that time we didn't have YouTube as much. I ended up eating porridge pilau.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Muhammad from Muslim Mastery, and today I'm going to be sharing with you 7 tips to discipline your inner self. Tip 1. Seek refuge from shaitan. As soon as you get a negative thought about someone, realize that shaitan is playing with your mind. Don't let him win, and instead ask Allah to protect you from him. Tip 2. Focus on the facts. When something happens that you don't understand or like, identify the facts that a fly on the wall would have seen. By taking a cold, hard look at the facts, you'll see that the situation is a lot less dramatic than you originally thought. Tip 3. Analyze your interpretation. How are you interpreting the facts? This is usually what is triggering your negative emotions. Accept that you've added this interpretation yourself and that you can choose to have an empowering interpretation instead. Tip 4. Don't make people into villains. As difficult as it may feel, let go of the idea that someone else in your situation is the enemy who is out to get you. Stop making others wrong and yourself right. Tip 5. Avoid playing the victim. By choosing to put yourself into the role of the innocent victim, you're avoiding taking responsibility for your situation. Instead, be proactive and look at what you can do to make the situation better. Tip 6. Make excuses for others. The Sunnah encourages us to think good of others and make excuses for them whenever possible. In fact, Umar radiallahu anhu said, "Do not think badly of a word uttered by your brother when you can find a good interpretation for it." Tip 7. Take responsibility for yourself. Allah has given you free will, so no matter how difficult any situation may feel, it's entirely up to you how you choose to react. Remember that the test of life is not what happens to you, but whether you deal with it in a way that is pleasing to Allah. May Allah give me and you the tawfiq to implement these tips. Jazakallah khair for watching.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
We're coming to you live from the heart of the city center. This is Horizon TV, the premier Islamic station. And of course, we're looking at stories making the top headlines in the country. And before we went for the break, I had just introduced sect members arrested for frustrating enumerators. And I asked you guys if, you know, Abu Bakar, sijui unaishi wapi, lakini umekuwa ukingoja sana na hawajafika bado. Now, a lot of people are complaining that they are being harassed. But in essence, what we're reading in the papers, also the enumerators are being harassed. Whereby, if you go back and you really do your research, is where people were sensitized on the fact that these people will come to your homes and they will ask you, certain questions. So why do you think the public is really reacting towards the enumerators? Odada?
Well, for the sect, that is before I talk about the general public, people tend to have people always want to have unique beliefs. People always want to be outstanding. People always want to be unique. So I think on a light note, that is an effort to make them look as unique as possible. I don't know why they are against census, because census is it's an effort by the government to try and achieve a given goal, knowing the statistics, knowing the population, knowing how to manage the population and everything. And I think it's something that is good. And given that the sect falls under Christianity, we do know that in the Bible, for us Christians, it's written that you're supposed to respect authority. So I think it's not something that is supposed to be pegged on religion. And then again, on the general public, the reason why some of us are resisting the census thing is because people expect, should I say a lot, or just people expect something from the government. And when the government does not meet the expectations, they're like, why are you counting us? You counted us in 2009, we've not seen any big difference. Why count us again right now? So I think the main reason why the public is more or less resisting the census exercise is because our expectations have not been met. And we feel like it's a way to get back at the government. Feel like it's a way to now frustrate the government, lock the doors and everything. Some of us
even found that yesterday someone climbed on top of a tree, running away from people.
Not to be counted. It's a way of now punching back at the government, so that. And then again, there's a whole point of the questions.
Do you think the questions are lame, not good enough?
Thank you for bringing it up. Personally, there are some questions that I may not be exactly as comfortable to highlight them here.
What kind of questions?
I do not see, to be very honest, the reason why someone should ask me about my tribe.
No, it's
at least ask me about my region. If we're not supposed to, I really need to be convinced beyond reasonable doubt that someone is supposed to ask me my tribe. If you've asked me my home, which is Nakuru, it's supposed to be enough. You ask me my home and I tell you it's Kisumu, it's supposed to be enough. I stay in Nakuru. I've told you I come from Nakuru, that's supposed to be enough. I don't see the reason why it should be trickling down to specific ethnic groups, because that is how we'll end up in 2022 having statistics of Kiambu, for instance, having 2 million people and 1.8 of them registered voters, which is statistically correct. So I think that is one of the questions that I think is really uncomfortable.
Abubakar, you not being, counted, you have not known what kind of questions they're asking. But on social media right now, there is fire. Everyone says, the questions they're asking, oh my God, I'm feeling so uncomfortable. How does it make you feel as a Kenyan?
First, the issue, the sect that refused to be counted. I saw they were saying, go away, you will be counted in heaven. And I'm wondering, first, who told you you'll go to heaven? At go away, you'll be counted in heaven. Then the census thing. Census is very important. As much as, there is census, it will be very essential in allocation of funds. Because how do you know how much to give to Marsabit County if you do not know the number of residents in that county? How many people are residing? There is that number that I come from Marsabit County, but I'm living in Nairobi. And there is that person who comes from Nakuru, but is living in Marsabit. Now, it is very essential in allocation of funds. But also, there is that political aspect of it. Now, asking about tribes, I see nothing wrong in the government asking which tribe you are. Because, we cannot escape from this. We are a tribalist country. We are a very tribalist
Dada just
country.
looks like he wants to pounce that.
We are a very tribalist country.
Yeah.
But, the government... Recently, the 44th tribe was identified. Maybe your Asian, the Kenyan nations. It's if you do not have data of such, you need data. If the nation itself does not know how many tribes do we have in the country, what amount of as long as it's only data that they are picking. It's not that they will deny you something. Or allocation of funds. It's all equal and such. So I see no problem in asking for the tribe. The ID number, people have had problem with it, and it was highlighted by the KNBS that if you are not comfortable giving your ID number, then you cannot, you do not have to give it. All they need is to know, yes, you have this number of Kenyans. How many people have national identity cards? It's for the database, it's not for, but you also have the politics side of it right now. It's very little. Where we have, there was a plan, For example, in Thika, you know, telling that we'll give you buses. A politician was saying, I'll rent for you buses. You go being counted, for example, in Moranga County. So that, you know, you have an inflated number of residents in a certain county.
Which is a very
and
sad
also,
situation.
Yeah, it's very sad. And in the coast also, you know, a constituency which does not meet a certain minimum number of residents, then it will have to be merged with other counties, other constituencies. Now, the members of parliament of those constituencies want people to come and be counted there because they do not want the constituency to be dissolved because they lose the seat. Or rather, in their next election, they'll have nowhere to vie. But for the census, it's very important. But I think there was a lack of preparation for it, in the very sense that people are ready for the census. People remain in the, you were expecting that on the first day and the second day, they'll be knocking on your door each and every. Actually, maybe you'll have 2 people and you'll be saying, "I've already been counted," but nothing of the sort happened. 5 days or after, 6 days after, I've not been counted. Not because I'm unavailable traveling or such, but it's a lack of preparation.
Could this be also a strategy for them to prolong it?
It could be. Because, if you Kenyans, we have always been extending.
Because you see, there's a budget allocated for that. It doesn't come for free. So again, we will not dive into that. Odada, you seem to be really burning when Abubakar is talking.
The issue of tribe, whatever might be presented to us might seem as genuine or as true as the gospel, but then the motive behind it is what worries me. The motive behind the specifics, and we've even confessed it. People will be told to go and get counted in other areas. I think there is a whole bit of, there is a way in which, and if I'm wrong, someone should correct me, it's more or less my opinion. There's a way in which the government and the people in authority are responsible for shaping how we think, shaping how citizens think. For some of us, when you get into some positions, there's a way in which when you're getting oriented, there are some things that you are told so that they can shape the way you think. I think part of the reason why, if you ask me, they do the specifics on the tribe is so that they can shape the way we think about given tribes. And as you said, it's a tribalistic country. That is something we're supposed to run away from. Because if we keep on thinking that we're going to be tribalistic forever, we'll never change, much as it's a very difficult situation. I think that this whole tribal statistics is going to end up having a very shaped opinion among the citizens. You're going to be told tribe X has the highest number of people. And obviously, if someone has bagged tribe X when it comes to 2022, is going to win the elections. So I think let's just work it as a region. Let's just say people who live in Nairobi are this number. People who live in Nakuru are this number. People who live in Kiambu are this number. I think it's fair as opposed to the tribalistic approach. Thank you.
Well, the conversation will continue after this set. So we have on page 7, that is on the People's Daily, senators blamed for funds crisis. MPs accuse their upper house counterparts of stalling revenue bill mediation talks. Now, only 2 of them showed up, So do you think the wrangles between the governors and the senators are affecting, the people on the ground level?
Of course,
the counties, that is.
It's affecting the counties because first, we have the health sector, it has been devolved. There, counties are supposed to be paying doctors, nurses, and we have seen, boycotts, strikes, in Meru County, I don't know, July salaries were not given, they have to sit with the governor so that they can get back to work, people are striking. And it's an issue of allocation. Is it 155 billion or 316? Because the counties want more funds, and now there happens to be a stalemate between the Senate and the National Assembly. And we have seen in occasional cases the two houses, battling for power, saying who is more powerful than the other, which is very unfortunate, But, these senators, these members of parliament come from a certain party. And right now, we are kind of in that situation, that political situation whereby we are in harmony. Why do we not have, the 2 leading parties, maybe Jubilee and the NASA coalition and such, sit their members of parliament down, sit, their senators down and agree on something. Because the president, as much as he has that mandate to do something about the two houses of parliament, tell me how one person could handle the rest. But you know, these people are under a partyship, and more or less in Kenya, it's parties are not about ideologies. They're about kind of sycophants, you know. If a party says this, we'll follow this. Why do we not have then the Jubilee Party and the NASA coalition then come and sit down and agree on this? Then they issue out, you know, as members of this party, this is what will follow. Then from then on, we'll have a consensus on this, and we'll have a way through, you know, for the citizens of this country. Because at the end of the day, you have doctor strike, nurses strike. A person who cannot afford a public hospital, meaning, you know, a private hospital is going to a public hospital, then the person will suffer greatly. And it's very unfortunate. The parties should do something, because that's the only way out we can have on this. Yeah.
You know, there's a comment coming in and it's saying fahali wawili wakipigana nyasi ndo huumia. Wadada, very briefly before we wrap up the show.
I'm not very sure whether there's a provision to discipline some of these people. I don't get why you're supposed to be, I don't get how you're going to be elected to hold a position. You're elected to represent a whole county in the upper house, and then you're called for a meeting that involves the health sector, and then you don't show up for that meeting. At times I do envy the Asian countries, Japan, China, and Korea. The level of discipline that is instilled in those countries, they're so disciplined to the extent that their collars have some needles that you can't doze off. That level of discipline is supposed to be instilled in our country, because I do not understand how, despite all those expenses, despite all those allowances, that huge salary, that good life that they're living on our taxes, one single meeting to solve our health issue isn't attended to. So I think it's a matter of discipline. If for instance I was a president, I don't know whether there's a constitutional provision for that. Some of these people just need to be sacked. It's just not being serious. Because for one, there are allowances for those kind of meetings, and they're going to get those allowances anyway, even if they don't attend those meetings. So I think it's a matter of discipline, if you ask me. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming here and discussing, you know, stories that are making the top headlines in our countries. So now we have come to the end of this newspaper review segment. Remember, this is Healthy Thursday, and of course with Mariam Mwacharo. Now in the next segment, Mariam Mwacharo met up with Dr. Ramadan Marjan, and she is going to be discussing about the male and female anatomy. All that you need to know. Now ask yourself, why would a man want to study gynecology? Well, get to find out. Also get to find out the foods that you can eat to increase fertility. I have been your host, Aisha Khan, and this has been Healthy Thursday. Let's meet tomorrow, same time, same place, of course, on the round table.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amani juu yako mtazamaji. Wanakuita wanatambua kama Mariam Mwacharo. Unatizama The Sabah Show.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Ukamwambia aje? Naye akakwambia aje? Na ulimjibu? Nani wewe analia hapo nyuma? Ni mtoto. Usikate, mpatie simu. Hello, Junior. Okay. Patia mama simu.
Cheki usikate.
Usikate, ongea sana.
Usikate. Wakenya, hapitwi na stories. Story bonus imerudi na madrama na mavideo. Ongea zaidi au ongeza mbado kwa line yako. Ujipatie 200% story bonus plus 200 MB YouTube free kila siku.
Witinesa. Ona, lazima uone.
Usikate, pata soroko.
Nawe kila wakati.
It's bigger and better. The biggest consumer expo in Nairobi, the 4th Dubai and Egypt Expo at Sarit Center in Westlands from 28th August till 8th September 2019. Shop till you drop on various high-quality products such as furniture, carpets, kitchenware, leather products, handcrafts, clothes, furnishing, jewelry, perfumes, natural oils and herbs, and many more other products from Dubai, Egypt, India, Iran, Pakistan, Syria, Turkey, and Singapore. Don't miss your chance to visit the 4th Dubai and Egypt Expo at Sarit Center in Westlands from 28th August till 8th September 2019. Open daily from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m. Entry free. Dear viewers, in case of any feedback, advice or complaints regarding our programming, contact Horizon TV on 0798 974747 or our live call-in number 0711 707 707 or send us a text message on 21951 or email us at info@horizontv.co.ke.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Take Tuesday with Yusuf Farah.
800 million jobs will be lost to artificial intelligence.
Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursday with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the round table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon TV.
Do you know who this is? Of course not. It's my uncle. And do you know who this is? Neither do I. I work for the Human Resources Department at a local engineering firm. I also just applied for another job at a far more prestigious agency. In that interview, I was pretty confident I'd get the job. I knew exactly how this process worked since I'm usually on the other side of the table interviewing candidates just like myself at my current firm. The interviewers told me that I and one other individual were the strongest candidates. I'm pretty sure I'll beat them out. Not only because I killed the interview, but because I also have my ways. Every night before I sleep, I try to read a few pages from the biography of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. I've always found his life fascinating. In fact, before I got busy with work, I used to attend weekly classes about his life and used to feel like it was as if he was in front of me teaching me how to live. Even if Fatima, the daughter of Muhammad, stole, I would punish her. Fear Allah and do justice amongst your children. 7 people will be shaded by Allah, the first of them, a just ruler. Now I remember him. He was the guy that applied for a job at my firm last year. I knew he was qualified. I knew I should have picked him. But I overlooked him and instead chose one of my friends from high school. Come to think about it, I interviewed them both the same day. My friend was clearly less qualified. but I nominated him to the executive committee, and he was employed. This number is no longer in service. How am I supposed to reach this guy? I hope he still has the same address. Oh Allah, help me find him. Oh Allah, I beg you to forgive me for being unfair. I've never realized how difficult this would be until I was in a similar position, waiting to hear back. He didn't remember me at first, but eventually I refreshed his memory. I begged for his forgiveness and told him that the job was once again vacant, and if he reapplied, I would be sure to nominate him to the committee with the highest of recommendations. After a moment of silence, he said, I have to ask, why now? What suddenly awaked your conscience? Muhammad, the Prophet of God. We need to read about his life and challenge our own vices with his principles, to read about his sense of justice, to read about how when Usama bin Zayd came to intercede on behalf of a powerful woman, he responded by saying that even if his own beloved daughter Fatima stole, he would treat her no different. We have to read about his call to establish justice, be it against our own family members and even against ourselves at times. His call to uphold justice and equality for all of the children of Adam. All of you are from Adam, and Adam was from dirt. There is no difference between one who is white and one who is black, except in piety. As for that new job that I had applied for, that I was sure I would get because I had my ways, particularly my uncle being the manager of that company, who already guaranteed me the job, he told me to meet him at Asr prayer that day. I was shocked, disappointed, and staggered. He chose the other candidate because he said he was more qualified. He explained to me how difficult it was for him to overlook me even though I was his own nephew.